But that cheering you did, what you cheering? I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me or my child. What you cheering for?
I'm not.
No, you were. You are not Miss Austin.
Get Why'd she do that?
I most certainly will, Your Honor. I told this young lady when she first stepped into my life I'd help her find the truth. So whether she's mine by blood or not, she's still mine by spirit.
Absolutely.
I wasn't with anybody else.
Obviously you were with someone else.
Jesus, Lord.
How would he feel if he knew that his daughter was not his biological child? He believed his daughter was his world. He wanted to be part of his daughter's life as much as possible. When the DNA results said Rasmussen was not Zaylee's biological father, he was torn apart in tears. But most shockingly, Zaylee's mother, Miss Miller, burst into big cheer with joy immediately after hearing the results.
Not the father.
Seeing Miller's reaction, Judge Lake scolded her, "You are a foolish."
That you weren't just acting a fool.
Watch the full video to witness unbelievable, dramatic moments in the courtroom. Subscribe to get stunning videos from this outstanding courtroom showdown regularly. Tiffany Miller believed her ex-boyfriend, Scotty Rasmussen, was not the biological father of her 3-year-old daughter, Zaylee. So she wanted to prove that before the court. Defendant Rasmussen believed Zaylee was his biological child. His ex-girlfriend Tiffany hated him, and that's why she denied his paternity. He said she didn't want him to visit his daughter, Zaylee. He had driven 160 miles every other week to see her and also paid child support for her.
I drive 160 miles every other weekend just to pick up my daughter and drop her off. I'm paying my child support. I have my child support payments right here, plus an additional $3 fee, plus an additional $60 annual fee.
However, Tiffany thought he didn't pay enough money for Zaylee. The judge then asked Miss Miller to explain why she thought her partner was not the father of her child. She said that she broke up with Rasmussen because he cheated on her. She was with another man when her baby was conceived. The judge then asked Rasmussen why he had signed Zaylee's birth certificate.
So you're on the birth certificate.
Yep, I was at...
You're at the birth?
He replied that he knew she was his biological daughter. He did everything for Zaylee. He was present in the labor room when she was born. He visited doctors with her every time. He drove 160 miles each time on visitation dates. He believed Zaylee was his biological child. Rasmussen also admitted his fault for cheating on Miller. He was so emotional when he described this.
I believed I was, and still believe, I was the only biological father until about 5 or 6 months or so, give or take, after she was born. We were at family court, talking to the family court commissioner about custody and the things that go along with that, like where she'd be going to school, her doctor, and all that. And Miss Miller brings it up that I could possibly not be the father because of another man that was involved, and she gave some date, I can't remember the specifics.
After that, Judge Lake asked him what he thought about the results.
Are you prepared? Have you prepared yourself either way? If this child is my biological child or if she isn't, have you thought about both?
He said if it's being positive, I will be overjoyed. But if it's otherwise, it'll devastate me.
Yes, if it goes the way I'm hoping, and I know in my heart that it will, that she is mine, I'm just gonna be overjoyed that all the drama and the fighting and all that kind of stuff is behind me.
Then the judge announced the DNA test result. The result said Rasmussen was not Zaylee's biological father. Hearing that, he had broken down in tears. But you will be shocked to see how Miss Miller cheered up immediately after hearing the DNA result. Judge Lake scolded her for her ungrateful, foolish behavior. The judge said, "You are mad at him because he cheated on you, but you are not thinking of your child. She lost her father."
You just showed me where your priorities were right there. Because I held out hope that you weren't just acting a fool because you so mad at him because he cheated on you that you would cheat your child out of a father. But that cheering you did, what you cheering? I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me or my child. What you cheering for?
I'm not.
No, you were. He is over here breaking down because he loves this child so much.
Let's move to the Morris versus Brister case, where Mr. Morris believed Brister was his biological child, but the truth came out differently. Mr. Morris was 100% sure he was Miss Brister's biological father. He He wanted to prove that, so he applied before the court. 29-year-old Miss Brister wanted to know who her biological father was because her mother had lied to her about who her biological father was. The judge asked Mr. Morris to explain his relationship with Brister's mother, Juanita Smith.
How this relationship began. Were you boyfriend and girlfriend? What was Mr. Morris? Explain to the court.
He said they started dating in 1984 and were together for about 3.5 years. Mr. Morris said that many other men in the town liked Miss Smith. He won her fighting over others. He wanted to be with Miss Morris, and finally, they were together.
Smith in 1984. At the time, I was involved with a breakdancing crew. When I met Mr. Smith, this one evening as we was performing, I knew right then I wanted to be with her. One thing led to another, and I pulled her. And me and Mr. Smith, there was a lot of different guys at her. And so, it was fight after fight with different people in the town that I didn't know nothing about. And
So was she with a lot of other people, or just she had a lot of suitors?
a lot of suitors, I would say. Because at the time I was with her, it was just me and her.
Then Judge Lake asked Miss Smith about her relationship with Mr. Morris. She said she wanted to be with him too. They broke up and got back together 15 years later.
Different guys wanted to be with me, but I wanted to be with him.
And so what is the status of your relationship right now?
Well, we're back together.
You are.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're a couple.
After how many years?
14 years to be precise.
14 years.
Yes.
And now you're back together.
Yes.
The judge said, "Then why is the paternity issue coming up? You said you were with him, and he said he was with you." Then the judge moved to Miss Brister and asked her what her mother had told her about her biological father. She replied that her mother had told her about different people repeatedly. Her birth certificate had one name as her father. Later, when she was 16, Mr. Morris visited her and said he was her father. Later, in 2015, her mother told her that another deceased man, Mr. Wood, could be her biological father. Still, she doesn't know who her biological father is, but she wants to know. She was crying when she said that.
It's just confusing. I want to know, for me and for my children, just for things that, he couldn't be a part of in my life,
And I apologize for leading you on like I did. I really do apologize, and I am sorry. I'm very sorry.
Then the judge announced the DNA results that described that Jerry Morris was not Miss Brister's biological father. Mr. Morris was shocked after hearing the results. Miss Brister burst into tears. The entire courtroom goes silent. You can't hold your tears when you see Mr. White and her daughter Tasha. They had to suffer for the misdeed of Tasha's mother, Miss Mock. Let's see if there is any hope for them. Petitioner Don White believed that Tasha Mox was his biological child, but his ex-wife, Julia Mock, lied to him about his paternity. Judge Lake asked him to explain how his wife, Miss Mock, lied to him. He said they married in the early 1980s. They had a son 10 months later. Then, a year later, when she was pregnant with Tasha, Mr. White had to go to jail. After 7 months, when he was in prison, she gave birth to Tasha. She wrote Mr. White's name as father on Tasha's birth certificate.
In the early 1980s, Julia and I were married, and she birthed me a son 10 months afterwards. A year later, she was pregnant with Tasha, and I ended up going to jail. She was 2 months pregnant when I went to jail. 7 months after I went to jail, she gave birth to Tasha. At that time, she must have believed I was the father because she put my name on the birth certificate. I was not able to do anything about it because I was incarcerated.
30 days after Tasha was born, Miss Mock took her to Mr. White. Afterwards, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. A few years later, she filed for divorce. About a year later, Miss Mock filed a petition in court to remove his paternity claim from both his son and Tasha. Mr. White studied law while in jail, so he fought his case and won. Miss Mock even did such an awful thing that at that time, she repeatedly changed her address so that his children wouldn't receive his letters he wrote from jail. When the judge asked Miss Mock about her motive behind all these, she said she tried to protect her children.
I was trying to protect them.
Then the judge asked Tasha when she wanted to know the truth. She replied that when she was 26, she got severely ill. She lost her vision and couldn't even walk. That time, she had enough time to think about these. Then, at 28, she got her vision back. When she was 29, she got Mr. White on Facebook. She texted Mr. White to find out if he was her father. Then they talked, and about 2 or 3 hours later, Mr. White visited Tasha at her home.
When I was 26, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I put a lot of thought into it. I was blind and I couldn't walk, so I had nothing but time to sit and think about it. And then when I had turned 28, I got my vision back, and 29, I reached out to Mr. White on Facebook.
You did?
I did.
August 23rd. She had sent me a text out on Facebook that night.
Judge Lake asked him how he felt when he saw Miss Tasha for the first time. He replied that he didn't have words to express his feelings, with tears in his eyes. He said, "I felt 30 years battle is over and finally I won."
I don't know the words to express it because there was such a warmth and a flood to come over me when I got to wrap my arms around her. It was like nothing in the world mattered at that point. You know, it's 30-year battle is over. I finally won. That's how I felt.
The judge asked Miss Mock, who Tasha's biological father was, if Mr. White wasn't. She said she didn't know where he was, but Tasha had a father who adopted her. The judge then said to her, "Don't you understand that your daughter wants to know who her biological father is?" She said she wanted to see her daughter happy. She wanted Mr. White to know he is not Tasha's biological father and to leave them alone forever. After that, Judge Lake announced the DNA results, which showed that Mr. White was not Tasha's biological father. Tasha and Mr. White both burst into tears. Then Mr. White consoled her and said he would help her if she found her biological father. Judge Lake appreciated him for his help. Then Mr. White remarked that Tasha is not mine by blood. She is mine by spirit.
So whether she's mine by blood or not, she's still mine by spirit.
Absolutely.
Mr. David always knew Donna was his biological child, but the truth came out 31 years later that his wife cheated on him. Let's see how he faced the truth in the courtroom. 31-year-old Donna Alston believed Mr. Holmes was her biological father, so she applied before the court to prove that. However, Mr. Holmes believed Donna was Mr. Alston's biological child. Mr. Alston's name was on Donna's birth certificate, and he paid Donna's child support. Judge Lauren Lake asked Donna to explain why she thought Mr. Holmes was her biological father. She replied that her mother and Mr. Alston were married. She was with her mother and siblings. One day, she was outside and saw her mother talking to a man. Then she heard the man say to her mother, "Tell her, tell her." Her mother looked at her and said, "This is your uncle. He is your dad's brother, and so." Later, she met Mr. Holmes's other family members, younger brother, grandmother, and everyone. She felt them near to her heart. She said Mr. Alston was his dad, but Mr. Holmes and other family members welcomed her the way she felt like they knew her from day one. When she was 15, her mother said Mr. Holmes could be her biological father.
Mr. Alston and my mom were married. So as a child, it all started there. I grew up in a home with my mom, with my 7 siblings. So one summer I was going outside to play, and my mom was outside talking to a guy. And when I walked up, he was like, tell her. And she looked at me and said, "This is your uncle. This is your dad's brother." So I proceeded to meet the family, which is my younger brother, my grandmother, aunts and uncles, and they embraced me like if they knew me from day one. So I have always assumed that Mr. Alston was my dad because his name was on my birth certificate. But at 15, she told me that Mr. Holmes can be my dad. He's always been a father figure to me.
Judge Lake then asked Mr. Holmes to explain to the court why he believed that Donna was not his biological child. He replied that he didn't feel any emotional relationship with Donna's mother, except sleeping with her a few times. He didn't even know of Donna's existence. Later, his mother told him about Donna. Then, Judge Lake asked Donna how she felt when she met Mr. Holmes. She said it was a wonderful feeling. He was the exact father figure she was looking for. Then, the judge called Mr. David Alston into the courtroom. She asked him about what he knew about why Donna was told that Mr. Holmes was her father before 15 years suddenly. He said he didn't have any clue. He believed Donna was his daughter. Donna said she always tried to build a bond with Mr. Alston, but he never loved her. He had abandoned her. Afterwards, the judge announced the DNA results, and the report said Mr. Holmes was not her biological father. She was so shocked. Then, the judge announced another DNA report, which showed that Mr. Alston was also not her biological father. Hearing the report, Mr. Alston was dumbfounded, as were Miss Donna and the entire courtroom. Let's see how a mother cheated her fiancé and then tried to pin her child on him. Miss Curtis was sure that her ex-fiancé, Mr. Buckley, was her 22-month-old son, Xavier's biological father. She applied before the court to prove that. She needed to prove that because his denial left her and her son homeless. But the defendant, Mr. Xavier Amin Buckley, knew Miss Curtis cheated on him. He was not her child's father. Judge Lauren Lake asked Miss Curtis to explain what had happened with her. She said Mr. Buckley got them out, not only her, but also his son from his apartment. So they had to live in homeless shelters. Mr. Buckley signed her son's birth certificate, but he didn't perform his responsibilities properly. The judge then asked Mr. Buckley if that was all true. He replied that he allowed Miss Curtis and her son Xavier in his apartment. However, he didn't want to continue his relationship with Miss Curtis. That's why Miss Curtis was mad at him. After that, he asked them to leave his apartment. The judge then told him that he was obligated to perform his duties to Xavier till his 18 years since he signed his birth certificate. Mr. Buckley replied that he loved Xavier, but Miss Curtis tried to pin her son on him. She cheated on him. This child was not his.
It didn't happen. As soon as we separated, she ended up having 2 other children. And that happened in not only that relationship, but with the following relationship that I was in.
So you've never believed you could have children?
No, Your Honor.
Then the judge asked him why he believed this child was not his. Then he replied that he had fertility issues. He can't have a baby. He added that a witness saw other guys with Miss Curtis in his apartment. However, Miss Curtis denied that accusation. Finally, it's time to see the DNA result. Miss Curtis and Mr. Buckley both waited for the result. The result came out that Mr. Buckley was not the father. Even after this result, Miss Curtis said, "I wasn't with anybody else." For the first time, Mr. Buckley showed his frustration with tears. He said, "Obviously you were with someone else."
I wasn't with anybody else.
Obviously you were with someone else.
Jesus, Lord.
What a tragic situation. What a difficult situation it is when a child knows that the man he knew as his father is not his father. At that moment, everyone should help him find his biological father. Every child has the right to know who their real father is. Let us know how you liked the video. Your comment will encourage us to make exciting new videos.